I can't do this anymore. I hear that. What was that? Shaheed and Adebo sold. Carr's pick was forgivable, but the others' mistakes weren't. We hate to see it. Unreal. Unbelievable. I mean, it really is. What's with all these injuries? Yeah. I don't know. Crazy. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about, I mean, that's an all-timer. As far as I know, that's only the second time in NFL history a team has lost like that. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost 100% sure, honestly, that that's the second time in NFL history that that's happened. First time would be the Giants against the Commanders. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's the fact that it's when a team loses scoring more 21 or more points without allowing an offensive touchdown. I believe is the stat. The muff punt was really the biggest mistake. Well, yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. Yeah. Anytime you stop your opponent and you muff a punt that allows them to score a touchdown, like that is such a crazy swing. So yeah, I mean, for sure. Clint pissed me off. I thought Clint was fine. I thought Clint was fine. I mean, I think you could argue like a lot of the like tosses or whatever you want to call it to the right in the running game. Like he might have. The only time Clint was truly bad was in the red zone, the second to last possession, when it was run to the right, and then the fade thing to the left. But I mean, I thought the last drive he was really good. The sneaks with Carr was really smart. Makes Atlanta burn the timeouts. Tries to drain as much clock as possible. I thought that was savvy instead of just scoring. But it's crazy. It's crazy, man. I mean, it's one of those losses where it's hard to even imagine. Carr ignores Olave. Olave had 10 targets for. I mean, Olave was fantastic. Kamara and Olave, again, like, just a good performance from both of them. I mean, you talk about this team, like, so undermanned going into it, you know? Like, going into the game, so undermanned, and then they do what they have to do at the very end to get you a lead, just like in Philly, where it's like everything is stacked against them, everything is made so difficult. Then they scratch and claw and fight and do what they got to do to get ahead with a minute left, and just some crazy stuff happens. Whether it's a Dallas Goedert 61-yard completion last game, or this game. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons did not, like, that's the craziest thing too, is, you know, like, on that last drive, it's like, man, the defense folded. But then at the same time, it's like, well, the defense didn't allow a single yard. Like, the defense didn't allow a single yard on the last drive. Not a single yard was given up. Like, yeah, was it a defensive pass interference? Yes, it was definitely pass interference. Like, you know, was it egregious? I guess no, but it was pass interference. But it's just like, man, I mean, they just can't stop breaking our hearts. Why not take the 3 points? On the second to last possession? Nah, you don't take the 3 points there. It's 4 minutes left. What was it? 4 minutes left in the game. You're down 6. Yeah, no, you go for it there. You're on the. Let's see what they were. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Right here, you're on the 7. So, what do you think is easier? Getting 7 yards or kicking a field goal, getting a stop, and then scoring again? I would argue 7 yards is easier. Bang, bang play, weak call. I mean, yeah, it's just one of those. It could have went either way. Every time I bet on the Saints, they lose. You should have won. The Saints closed plus 2.5, so you should have won if you bet on the Saints. Saints were plus 3 a couple days ago. They were plus 2.5 when kickoff happened, so you should have won by a half point. So congrats. Carr and Cousins basically played about the same. Let's take a look. So if you look at the box score, yeah. I think Carr might have been a little bit better than Cousins this game, but how about Bijan? How crazy is that? Like, everyone says Bijan's the greatest running back in the NFL, and they might want to tell the Falcons that. I mean, he was a couple big, or I guess one. He was one big reception away from being almost nothing in this game. Isn't that crazy? Live bet it when it was plus money. Oh, you bet the money line? Man, you should have live bet the spread. Would have got a lot of value there. I don't know. It's one of those games, like, it's such a the worst part about a game like this too is that you watch the game and then you see a bunch of like, oh well, fire DA. It's like what did DA do in this game that people want someone else to do? Didn't allow an offensive touchdown. You know? Like, didn't allow an offensive touchdown. You know, people are like, oh well, Derek Carr can't win. It's like Derek Carr, got the lead with a minute left on the road, tight game, divisional game. Like everyone did exactly what they were supposed to do, except Rashid Shaheed on a muff punt and Paulson Adebo on a defensive pass interference. I mean, it's crazy how much this team suffered. Or not suffered, but just how the odds that were stacked against this team. You're coming in down Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz. You're coming in with Chris Olave banged up. Taysom Hill gets hurt. DeMario Davis is out before the game. Willie Gay goes out. Tyrann Mathieu goes out. Like, you are playing with third-string, fourth-string players at multiple positions. And somehow, even though you give up the muff punt, even though you give all that stuff up, even though you have an interception, a fluky interception return for a touchdown, even though that, you're still in the position to win the game. And then what happens? Disgusting. Disgusting, man. We are the last drive of the game away from being 4-0. Ugh. I mean, could have ran the clock on our last touchdown. They had no timeouts. That's why we ran the quarterback sneaks. I mean, it was 3rd and goal. Like, it's 3rd and goal. At that point, you got to score. You can't, like, the sneak, the 1st and goal sneak. That caused them to burn a timeout. Then the other one caused the 3rd timeout, and then after that, then you're trying to score. So I think they handled that correctly. This one right here, like this possession, this was a mess. Like 1st and goal at the 5, Kamara right tackle. They were getting stuffed at the right. Running left was working all game long. I mean, look at this. Alvin Kamara left tackle for 14 yards. Alvin Kamara left tackle for 6 yards. Then right tackle for no gain. Right tackle for -2 yards. Like that tells you all you need to right there. This was the big mistake. This was Kubiak's big mistake right here. This was the big mistake, was this drive. I don't think Carr was really trying to get the touchdown on the leap. He might not have. He might not have. I mean, that's like 5D chess, but he might not have, honestly, because at that point it is better to not score right there than score. First and goal from the 5, come away with nothing. Yeah. I don't know how we don't allow an offensive touchdown and still lose. As far as I know, this situation is like the second-ish time this has ever happened in NFL history when you have something like this, where you score 24 points, you do not allow an offensive touchdown, and you lose. I mean, you talk about makes me depressed, man. Yeah, I mean, this one, it's just like Kubiak grace period is over. I thought Kubiak was fine. You take away, like I said, you take away this possession right here. Like this is what I'm saying, guys. This is the part that I don't understand. Like I'm seeing in the chat right now, like Allen has to go, Kubiak has to go. Like what exactly do y'all? What is on Allen here? I mean, again. They didn't allow an offensive touchdown, and they did not allow a single yard on the last possession. Yeah, Kubiak didn't drop the punt. I mean, yeah, like Kubiak and Allen didn't muff the punt on the 2-yard line. I mean, if there's a coach out there that is going to sub himself in on the 2-yard line and not muff the punt, if there's a coach out there that's going to somehow magically not allow the deflection picks, I mean, it's brutal. It is a brutal game. It's a brutal game. Would you rather get the field goal and let the offense go win it after D stop, or like what happened and let the defense win it? I think the way you got to look at that, I think going for it is right there. I think going for it is right instead of kicking a field goal. You're down 6. You are down 2 possessions. There's 4 minutes left in the game. 3 minutes and 57 seconds left. So you either believe you can get 7 yards. You have a better chance to get 7 yards, or you think there's a better chance you make the field goal, get a defensive stop, get the ball back, and then score again. Or like you can do all of that on one side or get 7 yards on the other side. I think 100% you try and get 7 yards. You try and score right there. Because if you miss that field goal, the game's over. If you're doing it that way. We gave it away? Yeah, for sure. Fair catching at the 1 is not. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, that's the craziest thing in the world. Where it's not like he muffed it on the 20. It's not like he muffed it on the 35-yard line. Bro, you take the points when you get them. We barely was moving the ball. We were on the 7. We were on the 7-yard line. It was a 12-play, 63-yard drive. Like right there, you are moving the football. The problem wasn't going for it. The problem was running right tackle on 1st and goal, running right tackle on 3rd and goal. That's the problem. After you just ran left for 14 yards and left for 6 yards. I mean, it was just it's such a heartbreaking loss. It's crazy because I remember during the run there when the Saints were losing the Minnesota Miracle and the pass interference with the Rams and all that stuff. I remember after every one of those situations, we kept saying like, "There's no way it can get worse. There's no way it can get worse, right? This is the worst possible loss you can have. This is it." And then the next year, we were like, "Wow, that actually was worse. Wow, okay." Actually, the pass interference against the Rams was worse than the Minnesota Miracle. And then, oh, wow, actually, this was worse than the pass interference. Oh, wow, crazy. After Philadelphia, after Philly last week, I was thinking, well, it can't get worse than this, right? Like, it can't get worse than this. And then 7 days later, lo and behold, it is worse. This is way worse than Philadelphia. This was way worse than what happened in Philadelphia. We needed Michael Thomas only if Michael Thomas was returning punts. Yeah, I mean, the whole team is hurt. It's crazy. I mean, we might be able to. Let's see if they've updated it. Let's see if they've updated it. There's a bot. There's a fourth down decision bot. Let's see if they updated it. This gives you the. Okay, here it is. This is it. There you go. So this is the actual math. This is the actual fourth down decision bot of what it recommends. So if you going for it, 25% win share, attempting the field goal 21%. So it is absolutely correct. Recommendation strong. You add 4.4% to your winning percentage by going for it instead of kicking it. So here's your answer. Like, this is the no bias, this is the straight up math, this is the straight up robot doing the numbers of what they should have done. And this is it. 4th and 7 with 4 minutes and 1 second left. Here you go. So there you go. Boom. So at least we can all sleep comfortably tonight knowing that this decision was correct. And we are making the right decision on these tough, like, you know, on these tough kind of situations. So if we look at the rest of the box score, Saints outgained the Falcons. Yards per play, defense still gave up 6.2 yards per play. Saints gave up the Saints had 5.2 yards per play. The Falcons had 6.2 yards per play. Running the ball, we gained 4 yards a carry to their 5.9. They only ran it 15 times. We ran it 33 times. Penalties, they had more penalties than us. We had one really, really important penalty. We lost the turnover battle. They have 2 special teams touchdowns, defensive/special teams touchdowns. We won the time of possession by almost 10 minutes. We have 11 more first downs than them. 7 for 13 on third down, really good. 1 for 2 on fourth down. We run 20 more plays than them. Ay caramba, man. Ay caramba. What do y'all think about Bijan? Every time the whole time I was watching the game, I was like, man, this is the craziest thing in the world. Like, what do y'all think about that? Isn't that nuts? Like, Bijan Robinson is supposed to be the next LaDainian Tomlinson. He's supposed to be the next whatever player. And then in a game like this, he gets 11 touches, averages 4. I mean, Kyle Pitts, same thing. Like, Kyle Pitts is supposed to be, like, that drives me crazy too, you know? Ugh. Brutal. I mean, if Shaheed just is not even on the field, like, how crazy is that? If Shaheed is out at the snack stand, getting some pecans, getting some loaded nachos, if he's there instead of trying to field that punt, we probably win this game. Why does Kubiak overuse players to the point that they get hurt? I don't think he had anything to do with Demario Davis and Tyrann Mathieu, and man, I mean, brutal. Yeah, the Eagles are just as hurt as we are. Like, that's the thing with the Eagles. The Eagles are very similar to the Saints. The Eagles are missing Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown. And they just couldn't do anything about it. We're missing, I mean, in this game, we're missing how many starters? You're talking about Willie Gay, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu on the defensive side of the ball. Then you've got Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz. You're talking about 5-6 starters are down. Brutal. Fire the training staff. Yeah, I got real questions about our medical staff. I mean, this is nuts. We rely too heavily on Taysom Hill. Yeah, I mean, Taysom was insane in the first half. I thought Kubiak, I will say, I think Kubiak adjusted much better this game in the second half than he did against Philadelphia. Against Philadelphia, it was just, more of the same. Like, just run Alvin Kamara up the middle, nothing doing. I thought he learned a little bit from last week, and we did see a little bit more of that creativity in the second half with Taysom out. Like the play where Rashid Shaheed got the penalty, the play where Shaheed got the illegal motion penalty, like that was one of those creative plays you like to see. I thought that was a great design. Shaheed just kind of floated forward a little bit there, tried the old arena league. I feel like crying right now. Yeah, man. Two defensive backs running into each other and a muff punt away from being 4-0. It's crazy. I mean, you really could kind of put it on there. Two defensive backs running into each other, a muff punt, and a pass interference call from being 4-0. Nuts, man. Why did we run it to the right side most of the, I don't know. That for sure was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. 100%. That is why, or that was my big question mark. For sure. That was a huge question mark right here. I mean, you are gouging them running to the left. Just whatever you want. 4 yards, 10 yards, 6 yards, 4 yards. And then first and goal at the 5, right tackle, no gain. Third and goal, right tackle for -2. And then the rest is history. So I don't know why here, first and goal at the 5, why you're not running left 3 straight times. I don't know about that one. I don't know. This right here, this is the part right here where you can really question what Kubiak's doing. Because if this is run left, and if these passes are short to Chris Olave, okay. That's what worked all game long. Running to the left and getting the ball to Chris Olave. No clue why right here they switched it up. This team doesn't have the luck factor. We certainly do not have the luck factor. Certainly do not have that. No doubt. Muff punt, pick 6. The muff punt, man. And the pick 6 too. Like, I always talk about how turnovers are so random. Like, it's one thing to throw the pick, right? It's one thing for the ball to get deflected into the air to where it can be intercepted. But then it's another thing that the person who intercepts it has a direct line to the end zone. Like, the interception itself was unlucky. But then for it to be a pick 6 is like, Jesus. Why wasn't Lattimore on London? He moves around. Lattimore moves around. It's not like he's not a matchup cornerback as much as like they just call the defense and then whoever's there is there. I mean, the punt is just so bad. Yeah, I mean, like right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's such a sneaky thing. Like, this couldn't happen at a worse time. because now you're headed straight to KC, and then you got to play Tampa, and you're 2-2, should be 4-0, should certainly be 3-1. Even if you take this, take this game and or Philly, you should have won one of the two. You definitely shouldn't have lost both. So we should be either 4-0 or 3-1. But now you're headed to KC, probably drop to 2-3, and then you have a tough game against Tampa. Like it's just, and that's the worst part about it, where you just kind of put your hands up and say, like, is this bad luck? Is this, I don't know. Playing KC with a 25-man roster, yeah. Tired of this. Been watching this for the last 3 years. Shoot, it's been the last, like, when was the Minnesota Miracle? How many years ago was that? How many years ago was the Minnesota Miracle? Because it's been since then. It's been just nonstop misery. Nonstop misery. 5 years ago? 8, 7. Oh, I got a lot of numbers here. 7, 6, 5. One of y'all have to be right. 7 years, 5 years, 2016, so 8. So 8 years of pure misery. Minnesota Miracle, defensive pass interference, overtime loss to the Vikings at home, the couple of Jameis seasons last year, and then this year with Philadelphia, that ending, and then this. Nuts, man. Beastquake, yeah. You can go back to Beastquake. You can go back to Beastquake. God. Ugh. Ugly, man. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you sit back and you say, good team, injuries, just can't get out of their own way. I mean, look at the win percentage. My God, look at the win percentage. The Saints had we had a 84.5%, 84.5% chance to win this game. Can we go back and look at the Philly game? Let's see. We had an 84.5. Oh my God. And an 84.7 is the highest I'm seeing here. 3rd and 16. 84.7. So we had an 85% chance to win both games in the fourth quarter with under 2 minutes left, and we lost both of them. What is the chance of that? What is the chance of that? 2 games, 85% chance to win the game, and with less than 2 minutes left, and we drop them both. We lost to a team who didn't score a touchdown on offense. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the second time in NFL history that's happened. First time being the Giants against the Commanders 2 weeks ago. So you're talking about Saints who just did something that you do not see. So mad right now? Yeah, same. I knew we were going to lose after Shaheed muffed. I'll tell you when I thought things were going real bad was when Taysom went out. When Taysom went out, I was like, all right. I don't know if this. I don't know how this looks for the boys. Thank you, Kiesel and John, for subscribing. Much appreciated. Saints are the most veteran team in the league. They're more susceptible to injuries. Brutal, man. Looking like Pistol Pete is calling plays out there. I thought Kubiak was all right. I thought Kubiak was fine, except for that 4-play stretch right here. Besides this 4-play stretch, I thought it was okay. I wouldn't give him an A+, but I thought it was all right. why don't you stream a play-by-play reaction to the away games? Because then I have to watch the games. And the way that the computer is set up with the TV, with the games being on Fox, I can't stream the games on the computer, so I can't watch them on the computer. I have to watch them on the TV. The TV's in a separate area. So, but I am planning on streaming the Chiefs game, and we're going to give some more. We'll give some more information this week on that. I think we're going to do like a 10,000 sub celebration, stream the entire Chiefs game live on the channel, maybe do some giveaways or something. So that's the plan for that. But when the games are on Fox, it's hard to do. How do you feel about Paulson and Debo? Not his best day. Not his best day. Not his best day at all. Yeah, I mean, hard to come out of that game. I mean, 12 tackles, 10 solo tackles is cool. 3 pass breakups, cool. But when he was bad, he was real bad. No doubt. The right run plays was the only bad play call. Yeah, I mean, continually running to the right was I'm not sure what the deal was there. Sit out mild injured players for KC game. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Like the KC game, big game for sure. But what's really important is we got to get healthy and we got to beat Tampa Bay. And you know, if you're 3-3 after the Tampa Bay game, okay, you can make some things happen. If you're 2-4 after the Tampa Bay game, I don't know about that. We got to beat KC now. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose, but it's way more important we beat Tampa. Way more important we win that Tampa game. Yeah, I mean, you know, like if you're looking at the schedule, you lose that Chiefs game, you're 2-3. If you win against Tampa and you win against the Broncos, you're 4-3. Okay, make something happen. Let's see. Broncos looking tough. I don't know. Broncos, where is he? Let's see. Bo Nix is looking about as bad as it gets. I mean, look at this from Bo Nix. There's nothing tough about this. 12 for 25 for 60 yards, averaging 2.4 yards. Good Lord. It don't get worse than that. This is a brutal game for the Jets to lose. This is a crazy loss here for the Jets. I mean, they lost to the Broncos. The Broncos had 186 yards of total offense. They averaged 3.3 yards a play. Jesus. In 2024. God. I tell you what, this was obviously a horrible loss. But what a gutsy performance from Chris Olave. Gutsy performance. Hurt 2 days ago. Didn't even know if he'd play. And he comes out of here and puts the team on his back. Gutsy performance from Chris Olave. Great performance from Alvin Kamara as well. Just a little too late. Let's see here. Defense is solid, yet they continue to break down during situational during the end of the game, which is not a good look for a head coach that specializes in defense. These are the ones you have to have, absolutely. Most sickening and physically nauseating loss I've watched in the last few years. Agreed. We wouldn't have been in the game without Olave. Yeah, Olave was fantastic. I mean, Olave was so good through the entire game. But I did like how against Philly, Kubiak kind of refused to let that like intermediate to short passing game kind of work. In this game, he leaned much more into it. In this game, he leaned much more into like, okay, fine. If they're going to give us that, we're going to take it. I mean, Olave and Shaheed had 22 targets, so Why am I getting Green Bay vibes from last year? I think I just don't understand the logic of going for it inside the 10 when our defense has been holding them back the entire game. This is the logic. This is the math right here. If you're talking about the 4th and 7 play, this is the math. To put it super like basic is that you're down 2 scores. You're on the 7-yard line. So you have to, the quick math is your success percentage of the 2 outcomes. One outcome is getting 7 yards. The other outcome is making a field goal, getting a defensive stop, getting the ball back, and scoring again. And then if you weigh both of those success rates and all of that, that's how you get the decision. That's quantified here, where it equals a 4% decrease in the win percentage to attempt the field goal. So there you go. So you have on 4th and 7, you have a 30% chance of success. You can see it all right there. But that's how you do it if you're looking for like the actual logic. So, these kind of decisions, I think, is best to like quantify, like trying to think about at the blackjack table. If any of y'all play blackjack, like if the dealer is showing a 5 and you have a 4 or you have a 6, you're supposed to stay. Like you are definitely supposed to stay. You don't always win those. You may win them 60% of the time, but it's definitely right to do it. And then when you lose, it's like, well, that felt bad, right? Like I should have hit, but it's you got to kind of just trust the process. Olave needs 20 targets. Yeah, that game for sure. I mean, in the back half of this game, that's what I was saying. I was like, look, just throw it to him every play. Just throw it to Olave every play. Either go out and get Adams for the Raiders. Adams, honestly, that if we were 3-1, I think you go make the trade. That's a good question. Where are the deep shots? Yeah. I think the deep shots weren't there because I don't think the offensive line could hold up that long. But that's a good question. If you're 3-1, I think you do go get Devontae Adams because you're sitting here thinking like, man, Shaheed's a good burner, but he ain't the number 2. Devontae Adams absolutely could be the number 2 or the number 1, and Olave be the number 2, whatever. But if you're 2-2, staring down 2-3, I don't know if you go make that trade. Defense gave up 12 points. Offense gave up 14. Yeah, it's crazy. Easier to say you should have done this or that when it's not what you did and you lose. Yeah, exactly. But that's the result-based stuff, Yeah, and Atlanta has 2 of the best safeties, probably the 2 best safeties in the NFL. So they were kind of giving us the short/intermediate routes, and we were taking them, but I feel like crying, but Chiefs just lost Rice. It could be a winnable game. We got to focus on Tampa. That's the game. I would much rather lose to the Chiefs and beat Tampa than beat the Chiefs and lose to Tampa. He got hurt. Matthew got hurt. Like immediately into the second half. Immediately. I feel like I missed a ton of injuries I didn't see happen. Yeah, this game we saw Tyrann get hurt. We saw Willie Gay get hurt. We saw Taysom get hurt. Alontae Taylor got hurt. So yeah, this game there was a bunch of injuries. James, when do we start looking at the Saints conditioning staff? We got to start looking at who's doing the what's going on here with the staff? So many injuries. Why run the ball every play? I think the team is just, the offense is built on running the football. Like we ran the ball 33 times. We threw it 36 times. If you go look at a similar type of offense, let's look at the Rams today. Like the Rams lost to the Bears. Well, it's a little different because they were losing kind of big, but like they ran it 26 times in a loss. So it's just the style of this offense. Like the style of this offense is you run the football first and then you go off of play action. So You know, the Bears. I mean, if you look at what they did, and then you look at what the Saints did, very similar as far as like the plan, the scheme. People aren't used to seeing the Saints run heavy. Yeah, I mean, it's just a completely different type of offense. I'm not gonna lie, we need a third wide receiver. They know how to contain Rasheed. We just don't use 3 wide receiver sets. Like our third wide receiver this game was Mason Tipton. He had 1 target. So it's not so much like we need a third wide receiver. We might just need a better second wide receiver. I think is more of what that line of thinking would get you. Derek's interception is why we lost. I would say the muff punt is why we lost. What now? Beat the Bucs. That's it. I don't care what the math is. Going for it is stupid. That might be the quote of the day right there. That's a wild sentence. Yeah, I mean, right now it's beat the Bucs. That's it. That's the Super Bowl. If we beat the Bucs, we can still win the division. We can still host a playoff game. We can still win 10 games. We can still do what we set out to do. If you lose to the Bucs, probably not. Probably not. Do you think we can win 3 straight? No. I think we can win 2 of 3. I think we can win 2 out of 3. I think we can beat the Broncos, and I think we can beat the Bucs at home. Let's see. We beat ourselves again. Yep, 100%. Week to week don't mean nothing. Game planning is what matters. I think we have a chance against the Chiefs. I don't know. Problem with the Chiefs is the best part of the Chiefs is their defensive line. And that ain't good for a busted up offensive line for us. 4-3 would be a godsend. Yeah, 4-3 is what we're looking at. 4-3 is what we're looking at. If we can get to 4-3, we should all be high-fiving. We should all be ecstatic. Bucs play Falcons next week. I think the Bucs are playing way better than the Falcons. But there's so many injuries. Like if you tell me that Atlanta doesn't have the 2 offensive linemen, well, I know they're not going to have one because one's on the IR, the center. But if McGarry or whatever's out again too, then I think the Bucs roll. I think Vita Vea just goes nuts. But isn't this funny though? Like think about last week, right? And we talked about this in the preview. Dallas Goedert goes nuts, right? And so it's like, okay, well, tight ends, we must struggle against tight ends. But Kyle Pitts had 0 yards. So it's like, that's why you can't knee-jerk react. That's why you can't go left. Like you can't just swing back and forth, right? Like everyone said, oh, Kyle Pitts is going to go crazy because Dallas Goedert. But then you look back and you're like, well, Goddard had 60 yards on one play, like, eh. And then you see right here, like now, you know, now it's hard now to be like, oh, well, the Saints are terrible against tight ends. You know. When would you draw the line in the sand between the blame on beating ourselves and Dennis not doing the little things right? No, I mean that is a valid point. That right there is a valid way to look at this. That is a logical way to look at the coaching. It's one thing to say, who said that? That was really well said. Corey? Yeah, Corey. That was really well said because it's one thing to say Dennis Allen sucks, defense sucks, fire Dennis Allen. But it's another thing to say like, okay, maybe there is something to the head coach not preparing the team for these super situational spots. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem of why we're dropping 85% win share games back-to-back weeks is because of that. That I could hear. That I could listen to. 100%. I can listen to that way more than I listen to defense sucks, Dennis Allen sucks, get him out of here. So, good, very good point, Corey. Very good point. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because if McCoy was here, we would have still lost. I don't know. I mean, it's such a weird game. Do you think Kubiak can lead us to the playoff? I think this team can be a playoff team. Like, this team could be like the ceiling is there. Like, you can see the ceiling and the floor, right? 100%. But at some point, you can't be a playoff team if you're 2-4. You can't be a playoff team if you're 2-5, and you win the box score, but you don't win the game. You know, so this team obviously can be a playoff team for sure, because this team could be 4-0. This team could be 3-1, but right now we're staring at 2-3. We gotta beat the Buccaneers. So it is what it is. Spotted them 14 points on 2 fluke plays, and it took a PI and career-long field goal to win. Yeah, exactly. It took. I mean, really think about 100%. Takes a PI, career-long field goal, muff punt, interception return for a touchdown, 61-yard Dallas Goedert catch on 3rd and 16. Like, it takes all of that, and the Saints, boom, 2-2. Carr was all right. Carr was better in the second half than the first half. I thought Carr was kind of meh in the first half. I thought he picked things up in the second half. I think they. I do kind of like how they settled in the second half. I kind of like how they settled into taking the intermediate passing game, taking the short passing game. I did like that, but you know, these type of games was reminding me of last year. This game and the Philly game are so much worse than anything that happened last year. These were worse than Green Bay. Bucks lost to the Broncos. Yeah, I mean, anybody can beat anybody for sure. James, you're saying it takes those plays for the Saints to lose. Guess what? Those are plays that happen in football games. There you go. There you go. If we lose to the Bucks and Broncos, are we in hell? Yeah. Yeah, brother. If we lose to the Bucks and the Broncos, yeah, we are officially in the 24th circle of hell. No doubt. I thought we were back to PC when Taysom went out, but Clint did kind of settle in to get the ball moving again. Yeah, I think so. For sure. I thought, like I said, I thought this was a much better kind of adjustment than Philadelphia. It's just, didn't get the job done. Why do we always find a way to lose games instead of winning? Man, preach. Ugh. Disgusting. If we lose to the Bucks and the Broncos, if we lose to the Bucks and the Broncos, that's going to completely. I'll tell you this: if we lose to the Bucks and the Broncos, we are rebuilding. If we lose those 2 games, yeah, because at that point you lose to the Chiefs, Bucks, Broncos, you are 2-5. Yeah, at that point, Allen's probably gone. Carr is probably slowly being phased out. It would be a completely different outlook on the season if we lose those 2 games. So are we already calling 2-3? I think 2-3 is less important. The question is, are we saying 2-4 or 3-3? I would say 3-3. I think we beat Tampa. I think we lose to the Chiefs and we beat Tampa. We just gotta get healthy. Gotta get healthy. It's crazy because you know how we keep talking about the Saints being 2-2, and they could be 4-0. The Falcons could be 0-4. Like, look at the 2 games they won. The 2 games they won against the Eagles, where the Eagles had a 97.6% chance to win. 97.6% chance with 1 minute and 56 seconds left in the fourth quarter. 97.6. And then in the game against us, we had an 85% chance. So the 2 Falcons wins, they had a 3% chance to beat the Eagles at that point, and they had a 15% chance of winning against us, and they're 2-2. Crazy how that stuff swings, man. It's crazy how that swings. Crazy. I'm still calling Rattler will be the starter and a mini Mahomes in 3 years. I'll tell you this: if Allen gets fired, if y'all are saying that Allen will get fired after this year, then probably a good chance Rattler doesn't even get a chance. Maybe those percentages are wrong. Maybe. Let's say they're 10% off. Let's say they're 10% off. Then the Eagles had an 87% chance to win that game, and we had a 75% chance to win the game. Yeah, man, tough. Not good. Not good. But I don't know, guys. We'll be covering it. We'll be talking about the loss all week long, or at least until like Wednesday. I can't talk about it all week long. Jesus. But appreciate y'all being in here. Thank y'all very much for watching the halftime show, watching this stream. Stay on, we'll be pushing stuff out on the channel all week long, covering the game and whatnot. So we're getting close to 10,000 subs. We're right there. And like I said, more details to come this week. I think we're going to live stream, have a little live stream show, a little celebration, if you will, for 10,000 subs. We'll do some giveaways. We'll do all that for Monday Night Football. So keep watching the channel for more information. But sad, man. Sad day. Sad day. Get out there. Get out. Get you a Bloody Mary, ladies and gentlemen. Get you a Pimm's Cup. Get you maybe 2 gallons of Pimm's Cup. But tough. All right. We will see y'all in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.